If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go on the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Bar merch. All right, reggae stream. Woo! The Wailing Waikers put it on. We are doing a reggae stream here.
Yes, sir, Bobbert.
Also, I'm not sure if we need to keep announcing that before every video. I noticed that might be annoying at the beginning of any time, because the only time that that's necessary is when we're doing the stream, and pretty much we keep the same crew the whole time.
Okay.
So then it's just at the beginning of every video. So somebody starts it, they're talking about a stream that doesn't exist because they weren't there. You should have been there. Anyway.
Okay, I see.
All right, the Wailing Waikers put it on.
Should have done this, should have seen that, blah, blah, blah.
This album is a compilation of songs recorded from 1964 to 1965. This ska genre record. What is that?
It's a genre of music.
Yes, I understood that much, but what type of music?
Jamaican music. Go ahead, just keep going.
It is important that it had Neville Bunny Livingston.
Neville, not Neville. Neville.
Okay.
That's
Bunny
how you see it, that backyard.
You should be reading this.
Neville, not
Bunny
Neville.
Wailer. Why am I doing this? Just so you guys can make fun of me?
She said Neville. Neville.
I said Neville.
Neville. Yeah.
Robert Nesta Marley, Bob Marley, and Peter McIntosh, Peter Tosh, backed by the Soul Brothers Band, Marley, McIntosh, and Livingston, would all convert to Rastafarian religion in the early 70s, and in short order be the prime movers in putting reggae music on the worldwide map.
So, speaking of Rastafarianism, you got the big homie Haile Selassie down there, and that is essentially the reincarnation of Christ in the Rastafarian religion. All right?
Really?
All right. Yes,
Is that,
yes.
okay,
Well, to you.
Look, this is the only thing that I know about it, and it's probably another stereotype that's completely untrue. I thought it was like a lot about I'm embarrassed to say it because this might be so far up, like smoking and finding like God within, like that's like a very big major part of.
Yeah, you connect with the Most High,
through being
the
high.
The ganja's there for religious.
Sounds like that'd be a stereotype, right?
For
like
spirituality, for spiritual reasons,
yep.
Not, you know what I'm saying? And I remember like walking through the halls, when the Jamaicans would talk about it, like they would talk about hitting that weed, and then they were like connecting with Haile Selassie and all this, like having experiences like DMT type shit. Really? But anyway, okay, here we go. Song number 2. Put It On by the Wailers. Let's do it.
Yes. Give me that.
them spirits, feel them spirits. Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you. Feel alright now. Feel alright now. Feel alright now. Lord, I thank you. Lord, I thank you. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on. I'm gonna put it on. Good Lord help me. Oh, good Lord help me. I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. I'm not boasting. Yeah. Good Lord, I just feel like toasting. No more crying. No more crying. No more crying. Good Lord, hear me. Good Lord, hear me. I rule my destiny. I rule my destiny. I rule my destiny. Lord, I thank you. 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 Simply 'cause I'm gonna put it on. In the morning, I'm gonna put it on. In the night, I'm gonna put it on. Anywhere, anytime, I'm gonna put it on. I'm not boasting, I'm gonna put it on. I'm just a toasting, I'm gonna put it on. Take it or leave it, I'm gonna put it on. Leave it, deceive it, I'm gonna put it on. Take it or leave it.
Alrighty then.
Did
Okay.
he say something about destiny? It sounded like
Yeah,
I'm
he
gonna ruin
said-
my destiny.
No,
but I
he said
couldn't
I'm
remember
in
what he said.
control of my destiny.
Oh, I'm in control of it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
All
in
right.
control of my destiny, which is,
Oh, man.
you know, in the background of a lot of these songs, especially Bob Marley, was a lot of Rastafarian ideology.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's explicit, which I'm sure we'll run into at some point in these songs. Sometimes it's explicit, sometimes it's implicit. So one of them would be the power of self-determination for, you know, folks in the African diaspora. So self-determination is a major principle, you know, in a lot of, you know, black liberation, you know, type of Pan-African movements, right? So him putting that in there, even if the song has nothing to do with it, it's so much part of their being that it comes out, even if they're talking about something general or something different. Go ahead.
Like, one thing that I've noticed is, like, self-talk and the things that we say to ourselves that you don't even realize it. Sometimes it takes somebody outside of your own thoughts to point it out. So, you know, there was this guy that, I'm going to try to, like, take a big story and make it small. It was one of the commercials that popped up in between a YouTube video that we were watching, but there was this kid, he got in some sort of an accident, I don't remember how, when he was a child, massive brain damage, and after that his learning was like all frigged up. He could not learn well, he just could not progress in school, and it was really, really stressful and frustrating when he was about 18 years old. Oh, but he was trying to read comics at night, and that's where he got, you know, like, I'm not a comic person, but like Wolverine and that whole crew, like, apparently
The
they
X-Men?
have a school. Yep, the X-Men, that one.
Okay.
They have like a school, I guess, in New York in the comics, and it was a school for the gifted or something, and he said that he was so drawn to them, not because they had superpowers or because they were able to accomplish great things, but because they all had problems. And then
Yeah.
they were all together in there, and so he thought, this is so sad to me. He used to get on his bicycle and he'd ride around trying to find the school, because he was like, I need to be a part of that little school, because that was his people, his class. He really wanted to meet them. Of course, they didn't exist anywhere but in a comic book. And so when he was 18, he was talking to this guy, and the guy was like, hey, how's school? And then he said he just burst into tears and started telling his story and saying how difficult it was and how he wasn't progressing and how he was never going to be able to be the person that he wanted to be. This was somebody else's dad, and the dad said, hey, how about write down everything that you want to be, so we kind of know where, whatever. So the kid writes down everything. Then he takes the paper and he goes to put it in his pocket, and the guy snatches it. He felt really uncomfortable because he didn't know the guy was going to snatch it and read it. And so the guy read it, and he said, the only thing, he said, you're so close to having all this stuff. You're about this close. And the kid was like, and then he went like this, and he said, it's all in your mind. It's all in your head. You're holding yourself back. And the kid was like, I don't know. But then so the kid started realizing, like, he was okay, and then he wasn't okay. And so he thought, maybe I have to teach my mind how to learn again. So he started studying everything he could about the brain and about the mind, and from all of that information that he compiled together, he figured out a way where normally we just read something and you kind of just learn from it. You don't have to teach yourself to learn. He had to teach himself how to learn from the information he was getting, and he did. And he improved on memory, he improved on being able to like speed read stuff and comprehend it, and like there's a whole bunch of stuff. And then he created like this program to help people. Well, in the meantime, he met this guy. The guy was connected to the X-Men, and because he knew, thanks honey, just said it right there, because he knew the guy's name, because he had already done all that memory work, and that got him in conversation, and then they ended up figuring out like who. Anyway, he got invited. He ended up being able to meet all the X-Men, and he ended up going on set with them while they were recording, and they took a big group picture and they sent that to him. They said, here's your class photo. It was really cute. Yeah, very cute. But anyway, like that sort of, he was saying, like, people say all the time, I have a bad memory, and then they throw their hands up, I have a bad memory, instead of saying, no, your memory is something that you have to work on, and it's something that you can grow in, and it's something that you can attain. And so when you're constantly with that negative self-talk, oh, I have a bad memory, you give yourself the excuse before you even try. And so that's something that I've actually been working on for a couple of months. And like sometimes I have to sit there and like really, really try to like re-pull back information. And sometimes it's taken me like 6 minutes to be able to bring back some information. But then I'm like, hey, I got it. Before I would have said I didn't know, and I would have come to you and said, hey, what about this? So I think that like in how that relates to this song, when he's talking about the destiny and like kind of like speaking that, like I think that, the history, like people, like that sort of idea, not that we're God and we can speak stuff into existence and create whatever, but I do think that our language is very powerful, and what we say is powerful in that it does create a world around you, and it influences the people around you. And if you're a negative person and you're,
So when he says I control my destiny, you mean?
Yeah, I think that, so for instance, this is a horrible example, and I apologize if it's just completely horrible, but like when you think about slavery, they were stuck in a system and they could not get out of that system. Like you would get killed if you were out of that system. So from within that system, you had to find a way to control your own destiny. And I think that that's where, this is just I don't know, maybe I'm completely wrong. Where like the soul songs and like the deep, so when I look at my spirituality or the spirituality of my family, I think we always sort of put our religion on like a jacket. Like it was a part of us because we needed the jacket. But like with you and the way that you talk about it and the way that it is like with your mother and the way you talk about how she was, it seems like it's down to the very fibers of you guys' being. So you guys don't have to think, how does my religion apply to this situation? It just comes out like, in this song, like it's not like this song was supposed to be like a church song. It's somebody singing a song, and in part of it is, feel like Lord hear me. There's like prayers within this song, and I noticed that I'm talking about generalizations here. Any black people that I've been around seem to be more religious. Even if they're not religious, there's still like religion that's intertwined into who they are. Like it's you can't separate it.
Yeah.
And my thing is, if you go through stuff, I don't know, that's just,
especially the South and the Caribbean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They might not even be religious, but it's still there.
Yeah, that's why the NFL is so extremely religious, because it's populated with a bunch of Southern black folks.
Yeah. I was watching this thing because I guess Beyonce came out with this song. I don't know, maybe I'm like 15 years behind the times, but she came out with a song called Church Girl. Have you heard this?
Who is this?
Beyonce came out with a song
recently?
called Church. I assumed it was recently, but I didn't want to go saying it was. And honestly, it's pretty weird. And I guess like some people approved it, but then like I was watching this black woman talk about it, and she was like, "This is really messed up. This is not right." Like, because it was like trashy. It was like, going to the party and like
being scandalous.
Yeah,
being the
like
scandalous
I think basically talking about like being a slut there and being free or whatever. And so she's like, the reason that we had a problem with that is because you said church girl. If you would have just said like another type of girl, we wouldn't have had a problem with it. But you can't say church girl and then put her in that box of doing all of this stuff. And like I thought to myself, they're genuinely offended that she did that.
Yeah.
It's not like, wow, that was, like it's just the different ways that my people, from what I've seen, and your people deal with something like that. Like it just seems like it's just deeper in you guys. So
Beyonce out here apologizing to everybody, huh?
She apologized?
I don't know.
I don't think
he said
well,
recently, and then she had to change it or whatever. But okay, so yeah,
It's kind of a gross song.
I mean, it's cool because me and Middle Earth are having a discussion on the sidebar, like, how much influence did Rastafarianism have on this particular song or whatever.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, well, when he or they, quote, officially converted is kind of almost immaterial, because if you're in that culture and if like Pan-African culture, all that shit is mixed in there. It's like mixed into the air that you breathe. So like it's the same thing like in the late 90s, like the 5%er theology, guys like Rakim, Nas. So people were saying all types of 5%er stuff. They didn't even know what they were talking about. Like to this day, like any white dude that was rapping and listening to Rakim or Nas or whatever in the mid 90s, early 2000s, they were quoting a whole bunch of stuff they had no idea what they were talking. Oh yeah. It was all 5%er stuff that you had to be in that culture to understand what they were saying. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the numerology and all the rest of it, like. That's why when Jay-Z did the numerology when he was dissing Nas, it was so powerful to me, because I'm like, yo, he used your own theology against you. But anyway, this song is extremely simple, and there's something whimsical about it. I think for me, like, this is one of the things for me with reggae is like, reggae will have some of the most like revolutionary shit to where you're like, yeah, and then other times it's like it's songs like this that are nice. And it's a little repetitive, and the lyrics are a little bit simple, but at the same time, it's Bob Marley, so I mean, you gotta give it up. But like this particular type of song doesn't necessarily resonate with me that much.
See, and I like it. To me, this is like, you just when this song first started playing, I was like, man, there's some days where I just feel like crying.
Yeah.
Today I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
This is kind of like, today is one of those days.
Yeah.
If you had a playlist of like some of this like very simple music, we're talking about the Lord a little bit, you know what I mean? Like it's just very chill. And we had a playlist, a little speaker, you go on the beach and just listen to that music, and that would be like really cool. Especially if you didn't wear sneakers and you wore flip-flops. Because when you wear sneakers and we go to the beach, I feel like you're not relaxed. Mm-hmm. Wear some flip-flops. Anyway, so I really enjoy this one. This is a 9.2 for me.
This is an 8.8 for me.
Interesting.
8.8 for me. Stephen Amwar in the house.
More reggae on the way.
More reggae on the way. You see the little reggae symbology up there? You see the colors? You see the colors? That was from Middle Earth. Middle Earth gave me that idea, actually. All right, we have not even begun to begin yet. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go.